Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Hope you're all safe and well. Today I'm going to build the FMS PA18 Super Cub. It's the 1.3 metre version, and when I say build, it's more of an assembly. Let's take a look at the parts. So we've got the fuselage. Now that comes in two parts. It comes in a front section and a tail section, as you can see. You have to join them together and they're held together by screws, just two screws. We keep at the tail and come down. You've got your tail plane and elevators. They're pushed together. There's no gluing. They just go either side of the tail section and they push and clip together. I should have pointed out that the rudder is already set up on the tail section of this aircraft. Two wings, left and right wing, port and starboard. There's no quick links as far as I'm concerned. You have to run cables through into the front part of the fuselage. But at 1.3 metres, I don't think this will be coming apart. It will fit in my car already assembled. Alright, moving back over to the right a little bit, you've got your wing struts and supports. They're just screw in again. And moving back down, we have the instruction manual. You've got a small carbon rod, which you probably can't see. Let me just move it. There, a small carbon rod, and that's for the tail plane. The larger carbon rod is for the main wing. Then we have our propeller, and that's an 11 by 7. It's a 2-blade, and I will not be swapping it out for a 3. A 3-part spinner. Now I'm not keen on 3-part spinners. I've had experiences where they actually come undone. And the next row up the top, you've got a screw set. They're hex-driven screws, countersunk, and they're all the same size, and there's a big bunch of them. Then coming down, something that's just confused me a little bit, they have a flap. I want to say Y lead, but it isn't. It's a 3-into-1 lead. And for the life of me, I can't think, why would you want your flaps, or why do you need flaps with 3 connectors? Only conclusion I can come up with is that even though they've all got 3 wiring, as in signal, positive, negative, all 3 of them, 2 will be used for the flaps and 1 will be used as power for your lights. Then coming down, the next bag that contains a few springs, clevers, some plates that you use to hold your undercarriage onto the fuselage, and below that is a brace, a sprung brace for the undercarriage, and below that I've also got the receiver I'm going to use, which is an AR630. Wheel set over to the right, they're pump up tyres. The 1.8 version has hard solid wheels. They look quite good, and of course in the bag here it has one of those, I call them football valves, or a ball valve that you put on the end of a pump. But I've been told to be careful because you can break the seal and you can, in other words, burst them. So I'll probably leave them just as they are. Depending on how flat they go when they've got the weight of the aircraft on them. Right, and that's it. Not many parts. Shouldn't take too long, he says. Famous last words. The first job we've got to do is read the manual. I'll go and do that just to make sure I do everything in the right, correct order. And if I don't think it's the right order, I'll change that. Let's get on with it. Okay, here we go. I've got all my parts laid out in my tray. This is a good little device to have. Keeps them all in place. It's just a magnetic tray. They're really good. But keep it away from your wristwatch. Especially if it's mechanical. Right. So I'm going to join the fuselage together. And we have an elevator. And we have a rudder wire. A spar that's already set in. Brass threading on the underside and on the top. And on the front section we have a big slot to push those servo kit wires. I was going to say cables, but they're not. We've got a carbon tube that the tail one slides into. Then we've got some guides, plastic guides, top and bottom. I suppose the first thing to do is to start threading these through. And do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the Go Get 'em wire from Free Wing that I've got. So this is my Go Get 'em wire. It came with the Free Wing Banshee and I'm going to be using it. I'll do this in reverse, so I'll actually thread it through there so it comes out here. That's it. So it's coming out there and it's here. This is quite big, so I will be hooking both of those up. It really makes life easy, this little wire thing. This is going to be tight, not as tight as I thought. There we are. I'll drop a screw down there and do it up. I won't do that up totally. Turn upside down. There we are. I'll put the second one into there. The only thing I'm doing is applying a bit of up pressure, up and forward. Wow, they just don't line up. No, there's no lining up there at all. I'm going to have to take this away and do it.
A little later.
To get these screw holes to line up, you have to apply a very large and uncomfortable amount of force. But it is the only way. It felt very uncomfortable applying the amount of force that I had to, and I had to support it at the front end and apply a lot of weight down this end because you're compressing the foam. But it's done. Right, next job, undercarriage. Right, so we need this piece from our undercarriage, and that goes in there like that. Just like that, push it in, it's a very firm fit. There we are, then this piece with the longer strap going towards the tail. That's good. Let's start to get them screwed in. Do not forget your plate. So we've used 2 screws so far, used another 4, so that makes a total of 6. Good. Right, now we add our springs, 2 springs. I'm not sure how we add these. There's one. Let's do this way. Okay, this is a little messy. I will do my best to describe what we have to do. I've threaded through a single elevator and single rudder when I joined the 2 halves of the fuselage. They need to go to the input side, which is the front of the reflex gyro. Therefore, the output side is at the back of it. These wires here are all coming out of the back of the gyro, which is the output. And you will see it has a rudder output and an elevator output. but at the moment it does not have a rudder input or an elevator input, so you have to connect these two into the input side of the gyro, which I'm going to do now.
Moments later.
Right, so what I've done now is I've put the rudder and the elevator servos into the front of the gyro here. So all 4 inputs are complete. The first input is the ailerons, which have these 3-way splitter here. So why do we have 3 connectors? One is for left and right, port and starboard wing, and the other is purely to supply power to the LEDs. Then you have your elevator, then you have your throttle, then you have your rudder. And they're also coming out the back, which is the output, which is here. I've got throttle, elevator, rudder, and ailerons. And then this is the flight mode select. They go into your receiver, along with the flaps. The flaps go directly into your receiver. Just going to put the spar through. That's our wing spar. There's a lot more threading as well. I've got 3 wires here. One's the LED, one's the aileron because it's not marked, and the other one is marked flap. I'm not interested in the flap at the moment. So let's pull this back here a bit. Let's get that threaded through the hole. This won't go because of the label, so we have to do them one at a time. Okay, that's the flap.
Much later.
Right, so I've got that in. Tiny little hole up there, and you've got a thread. That with the flap on it, you can't take it off, otherwise you're going to get them mixed up. You could, but you'd have to do testing. There's the aileron, and there's another one here, which is the power for the LEDs on this side. So before I connect those up, I want to screw this wing in. No trapped wires. Do check for trapped wires if you're doing this, and do take your time. You need 3 hands. That's it, I got it. You're not seeing anything because the wheel's in the way. There we go. That was dreadful. Really dreadful. Right, so we're not interested in the flat one, but we do want one of these, which will go onto the aileron. Make sure you get the signals around the right way, because you do not want to fiddle around with this once it's in place. And somewhere in here, there's the black and red, which is here. That can go onto the other one, and make sure you get the red to red and the brown to black. And I've still got my flap wire lead here, so we could use that now for this one. Now I've got to repeat that whole process again. It's just the way the holes go. They go in and then drop. They go forward or across, and then they just drop at 90 degrees, which isn't very helpful, to be honest. Plus, it's very small, the slot, and once you've got these in, they're quite difficult to push through. So you end up with 6 connections to make, 3 from each wing. Well, let's get that upside down and screw it on. Right, so another thing I had to do, it's okay, but you do have to apply a lot of force to get these screws to bite into where they need to go. If you're not used to it, you might think, oh, I'm going to break something. But as long as you're careful and make sure the force is applied in an area that can take it, then you'll be okay. And they go around the wheel strut. They're held on with our clips at this point, but we'll screw them in first. So far that's 10 screws we've used. Very easily. Oh wow. Oh. So as I said, this piece hooks around the undercarriage like that. Don't get these in. These I don't like. I mean, they look in, but they are not in. Ah, wow. I have to get that in. I can't apply enough pressure to it. I'm trying to apply pressure here without bending. That's it. So we put the rod in. Let's do a hole there. Bit flippy floppy, isn't it? I don't think that's the best way to do it. Okay. Here's the clip. This connects into the tail. I don't know if it's supposed to clip or not. If I'm supposed to hear a click. Yeah, that's it. Wow. Then we're going to put the second hole up. Put that in there. We're going to assume it's right. And I'm just going to close it up. We'll do adjustments later. Well, that's done. It's basically built. We've got 4 screws left over. No, we don't. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws left over. And they are for the ski connections. So I will apply them just to keep them safe. I'll do that right now. So these here and here, they've got some little plastic plates and screw holes. So I don't lose them, I'm going to put those on, screw them in. And that will leave me with 1 spare screw. So 14 screws to assemble this. I will be connecting the receiver now, and you can't see because it's such a mess in there, but down here next to the reflex system there's a piece of ply, and I will be sticking the receiver there and then just pushing all those wires to the back. It's a 6-channel receiver, AR620. Right, this is a Spectrum setup. Channel 1 is throttle, and on the Spectrum receivers the signal's always up top. And it goes into channel 1, not the first set of pins, because they're left over for bind. Alright, so that's throttle. Then we want our ailerons. Then we want our elevator. So far all of these are coming out of the reflex output side. Then we want our rudder. It's all the first 4 channels all used up. Okay, and then channel 5, which would be gear. For this is used for switching. This is called an S-bus PPM mode. That goes into channel 5. Channel 6, which is of course the correct channel, becomes your flaps, but not via the reflex. These just come straight off the wings, and that's all 6 channels of an AR620 used up. There we are. I'm just going to put some sticky stuff on the bottom of this. I'll push all those cables through that way so it's facing forward. No point looping it around like that, or I might, I don't know. Right, well, I'm going to get on and do this. I'm going to sort the centre of gravity out. You've all seen how I do that. If you're not sure, just go and take a look at one of my other build videos. It's 60 to 70 from the leading edge millimetres, so I will set it at 65. I've got to do that, and then I've got to do the throws. So thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay well. I look forward to you coming and joining me on another video very soon. And who knows, it could be a maiden of the FMS 1.3 metre PA18 Super Cub. Cheers.